Welcome to another episode of Dad Can We Talk? I'm your host, Anthony Ray, and this is episode 93. We are 7 episodes away from episode 100. I'm so excited because I have been aiming for this goal for the past 2 years. So we're almost there. And thanks for all of the support for all my listeners out there. So, first thing first, I need for everyone to go to the YouTube channel and subscribe to the podcast at Dad Can We Talk. If you only listen to the audio version of it, you can go to Apple Podcasts or you can go to Spotify and subscribe there. Every subscriber counts, every listen, every view counts. So I appreciate everyone that supports the podcast. And if you just want to find it simply, you can easily just go to dadcanwetalk.com. You'll find all the episodes streaming there. And you'll also find the YouTube channel on the website to make it easy for you. And okay, so one more announcement. I found out last week that I was chosen to be the father of the year for Florida by the Head Start program. So yeah, it's been a pretty big month for me. And like I say, I always say, I'm thankful for everyone that supports me. It goes, I'm totally appreciative of everyone that's always in my corner for that. And so without further ado, man, I'm gonna get to today's guest. He has played in movies like The Wood, How Stella Got Her Groove Back, Brown Sugar, and The Best Man Holiday. He's been nominated for multiple awards. I mean, there's countless awards out there he's been nominated for. He's won the NAACP Image Awards, the Screen Actors Guild Awards, and done so many great things in his career. But without further ado, man, I want you guys to welcome to Dad Can We Talk, Mr. Taye Diggs. How you doing, my man?
Hello. It's good to be here. Thank you for that wonderful introduction, man. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, we're gonna get right to it, man. So, my first question for you today, I want to know who were your leading male role models in your life as a child?
Ooh, that's a good one. I remember Sidney Poitier was somebody my mother. I was very close to my mother, and
Wow.
she made it her business to make sure that I knew who he was and the movies that he had done and
Mhm.
his life. I remember she made me read his autobiography at an early age, and then of course um, Denzel. Obviously,
Mm. Yeah.
he still continues to uh, to wow and amaze me. Andre Brower,
Mm.
um, watching him in Glory did something for me, and I mean, the list goes on. But you can imagine being a young African American, where we grew up, you're
Mhm.
automatically drawn to the only black face, and then that black face becomes a role model. So,
Definitely.
every every black character on every show that I grew up was somewhat of a role model to me. So, fortunately, things have changed at least to a certain degree. But I'm very thankful to those folks.
That's some good stuff, man. So, how would you say that those relationships that you had with those men, how would you say that that has now translated over into, your own relationship with your son?
Oh wait, were you asking me if they were role models as actors or as fathers?
Oh, as like any father figures that you had growing up.
Oh, my bad. I thought you said
Nope.
as actors.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
Hey, that,
Yeah.
that that was a good list, though. That was a really good list.
uh,
Yeah.
uh, uh, well, uh, I was my actual father had passed on.
Mm.
But my stepdad, who raised me, I had a mixed relationship with him, but I tried to take the positive and leave the negative. I'm trying to think. Other than that, yeah, like my mother, my mother
Yeah.
was uh, was the major just figure on both sides.
Wow. And she was a teacher, right?
Yes, yes, she
That's good.
was,
That's some good
among
stuff.
other things.
Okay, yeah, man. Because and I like to ask that question because I just really like to see how men become the men that they become. And I think it has everything to do with the men that we look up to growing up. The men around us.
All 100%. And in that case, you can use a lot of those people from the first list because
Mm,
that's how I was learning. That was my my version of, oh, this is what a cool black man looks like, talks like, acts like. So
mm,
you can still kind of mix those actors, put them up, add them as ingredients in that mix.
yeah. So with all of that, with the actors that you looked up to and that you followed, and the male role models that you did or didn't have in your life, how has that influenced you now that you are a father to your own young man?
Ooh, that's interesting because right now with my son, I'm more I've learned to kind of take the energy that he gives to me
Mm,
and play off that, only because through experience and through watching other relationships and my own experiences, I think it's important to kind of, for me at least,
mm-hmm.
raise my child according to him as opposed to um, having it be based on something that I've seen before. Because
Ah,
and so because for example, I was spanked as a child, so
mm,
I think that I might then spank my child because it quote unquote worked for me, but
yeah.
that's not the case. And based on how Walker interacts with me, I don't need to, and I
Mm,
probably won't ever.
yeah.
But that's the main thing that I'm trying to focus on. No offense to all of the people my age and their parents. They did an amazing job. Hopefully the best they could. But a lot of how I feel, a lot of how they raised us, was wasn't necessarily serving us.
Mm,
And we're finding that out the older we get, with fear and shame
mm.
and false sense of ego and pride. So when I'm raising Walker, I'm trying at least to be thinking of him instead of what I think he needs.
That's some good stuff. And how old is he?
Oh, Walker's 13.
13, 30. Oh, so you got a teenager on your hands.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah. Yes, yes,
So,
yes.
man, I want to take it back with him. What was your first reaction that you had when you found out that you were about to become a father? Like, what was that first thing that ran through your mind?
Um, it was so surreal. It was so surreal. I was less concerned about his um sex than I was not being able to recognize or really define how intense the love I felt for this new person. I
Mm,
had never. He's my first kid, and I had fallen in love with girlfriends and my then wife, and my mom. But what I was feeling for this kid was unlike a feeling I had ever felt,
mm,
and uh, and that was foreign. It was foreign to me, and it was frightening, especially
mm,
when we brought him home, and I would go off to work and not know what he was doing, not being in control. And just as a person, as a human being, I am a control freak, and not no matter what I thought I could do, once he fell asleep and once I fell asleep, who knows what could happen,
Mm,
in those 8 hours. That was tripping me out for a while. So I had to make that was the most that was a major adjustment I had to make.
mm. Yeah, that's an understandable thing right there, man. Trust me, I got three of them.
Oh wow. Yeah, I can't
Yeah,
even imagine.
yeah. So, from my understanding, reading up on you, man, so once you had that child, I know that you had trouble sleeping and you had an experience with insomnia. I want you to talk about that how that had an effect on your experience as a father.
Sure. Well, first off, I just want to acknowledge, with a lot of us, a lot of African Americans, there's a stigma attached to getting help or to
Mm,
going to a doctor or choosing to take a prescription. And
mhm,
this was one of those times for me where, after my son was born, I had anxiety with not knowing how long he would sleep and how many hours of sleep I would get before going to work. Um, because as you can imagine, as an actor, I need to
mm,
look good. I need to be focused.
mm,
You know what I mean? I need to my energy level needs to be at a certain point. And when I didn't get a good night's sleep, it was trash.
mm,
So from that point on, I started just looking for certain energy drinks and aspirins with caffeine in it, and teas and coffees, and just so I could maintain and get through the day. And it wasn't until kind of recently where my son actually brought it to my attention that he could see a difference in just how much energy I had with him after
mm,
my workday, and how engaged I was, or how energetic we were when we were doing whatever it was we were doing. And that affected me because regardless of it being the end of the workday, I wanted that time with him
mm,
to be the best it could. So that's when I went to a doctor and said, is this a thing? Um, and he said it was a thing. It's called insomnia. And I was one of these people that thought insomnia. I thought the people who had insomnia didn't sleep for the whole night. I thought these were people
yeah,
that just could not sleep ever, and they were
yeah,
walking around looking like zombies. And that's not what it is. You know, um, for me, I would get to sleep, but then I would wake up every day. In between like 3 and 5, and not know whether I was going to get back to sleep again.
mm,
So, my doctor introduced QVivic to me, and he said, "Give this a try." Um, he made me aware of the side effects because these are prescriptions sometimes have them, and see how you do. And I was able to I was able to get to sleep, but then even more importantly, stay asleep and wake up, ready for the day. Because with a lot of these sleep aids, you can wake up groggy and drag that grogginess with you, and it still can end up affecting your workday,
mhm.
regardless of how much sleep you got. Um, so I've been cool, ever since. I see a difference in just how aware I am at work, and more importantly, just I can be on my ones and twos when I'm with Walker, and I'm getting older and he's getting stronger, so I need my energy now more
Yeah.
than ever. So that's just an example of us as a people kind of overcoming the fear of asking for help and not just
Mm,
trying to self medicate. Um,
mhm,
as you can kind of apply in any type of situation, the more options you have, the better. That's just common sense. It doesn't mean you have to use them, but to make the more options that you have accessible to yourself, it only it's only positive.
That's some good stuff right there, man. For my listeners out there, you heard what he said. Do not be afraid to ask for help because especially as dads, there's so much pressure that's up that we're always up against. Even pressure from within, that we put on ourselves. And I know that's something that I do. I put so much pressure on myself to be there and to do this and do that, and always pushing myself. At times I can skip out on getting rest, because I feel like I'm gonna miss something,
Hmm.
and yeah, that's some good stuff right there, man.
Thank you,
Now,
sir.
I want you to talk about how do you, with you being an actor, you now a father to a teenager, um, you know, more than sure you got friends and family and just trying to deal with things within your own self. How do you balance work and family and life and all of that stuff? How do you balance all of that?
I'm still trying to figure that out. But for me, it's touch and go. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm,
as I said, I'm a control freak. So,
mm,
when it comes to certain situations, and I have to say, I have a really great, uh, the mother of my son is amazing with how much she does with just keeping him, on schedule and then keeping me aware. And I got a
mm,
great, great assistant, Troy
mm.
Brookins. Shout out to him. These cats keep me on in line because I wouldn't exist if it weren't for these people. But
Yeah.
I try to control, how much time I have for him and what kind of jobs I take. You know what I
Mm,
mean? So even when that happens, you never know what can happen. So I make sure that I have my priorities straight. You know what I mean?
mm.
And I'm not judging anyone, but my family is a major priority. So I don't feel comfortable taking jobs, that aren't close to my son.
Yeah.
So that's something that just can make me feel better.
Mm,
Um,
mm.
and then from that point on, just kind of taking it as it comes and going trusting myself and going on how it feels and how Walker feels. I'm an adult, so there are people
Yeah.
out there that say, you got to take time for yourself and you know um, put yourself first. I think it depends on what the situation is because he's developing.
Hmm.
So a lot of times I think for me, I'm choosing to put him first because I know what it's like
Mm.
to have not been put first and the effects. I'm still feeling those effects now.
Wow.
You know what I
Yes,
mean?
sir.
And I'm an adult, so I can deal with, not going out for a night or
Yeah.
skipping this award show or, not taking this gig that shoots in Australia where I'll be gone for
Mm,
6 months. Like I'm not with that. So, but that's just me.
That's good
That's what
stuff.
I'm choosing. And for the tons of times that I suck as a dad, I can look on those moments and it can kind of lift me up and I can feel better about myself.
Mm, yes, sir. Listen, you're preaching to me. You're preaching to me, man. You're preaching to me, man. Hey, if you could sit down, and have a conversation how you and I are doing right now with the 18-year-old version of Tay, and if you could look that young man in his eyes and give him one piece of advice going forward, knowing everything that you know today, what would you tell him?
uh, Run to therapy.
Yeah.
Because 18 was right when I thought I was just learning enough. I thought I was slick. You know what I mean? I thought I knew people. I thought I could read people, and I could, but that was the age where I thought I was figuring things out, and in so many cases, I wasn't, and I was just kind of lining myself up, um, doing starting really bad habits, you
Mm,
know, making gross, assumptions, basing things on how things have been in my life as opposed to accepting other people's situations and not comparing, um, using the using what had served me, coming from a family where there was trauma, thinking that I knew. what I needed to do to move forward based on the trauma that I had been through, you know, thinking that that was the only way to move towards life in life, so that a lot of my struggles, um, I think could have been, I could have been a lot easier on myself if I had, gone to therapy and had some help with that.
Mm. Again, man, you preaching to me. Stop preaching to me.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, man. So my last question here. My last question is if you could give any other advice to dads out there that might listen to this, might hear this, what would you say to them if you could just give them one piece of advice?
ooh, oh, you know what I would say? Um, because especially, I think most fathers do this. Um, and a lot of times, in my experience, I see African American fathers, Black fathers. Um, when your child is complaining or crying to you or calling out for help,
Mm,
we're so quick to say, "Don't cry," buck up, man up, you know.
mm,
Um, and I understand that, but I think it's really important to let the child know that they are being heard and that whatever they are coming to you about, it's valid.
mm,
Because that's where kids are learning that they're not important or that they should shut up when they feel a certain way. You can use context and say, okay, well, crying in the middle of this basketball game might not be the, I get that you feel this way, but you're gonna hold up the game. It might mess up the teams, the energy of the team. So, but to let them know that it's okay and that whatever their issue is, that it's valid. You know what I mean? We grow up, black parents saying, if you don't stop crying, I'm gonna give you something to cry about.
mm.
Like when you really break that down, can I cuss
Oh
on this
man, go
podcast?
ahead, let it go.
When you break that up, it's fucked up because you
Yeah.
are saying to the child, I don't care about what you're crying about. And not only will I not care, I'm going to beat you for not being able, you know what I'm saying?
Mm,
So instead of, listening to a child and then dealing with it, I think I think we need to do that more. Listen and then let the kid know that whatever they're concerned about is that you understand it. How
mhm.
you deal with it, that's something else. But I think that's the major thing. That was long winded, and I apologize.
Man, no, listen, that was and I got to tell you this because I had a situation like that about 2 days ago with my youngest daughter, and she was crying, and I was just so tired, and I was home with the kids by myself all weekend, and I was just stressed out,
Of course,
and
of course.
she was just crying, 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 and I said that I'm just like, listen, I need for you to stop crying, or else I'll give you something to cry about,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
and when I said it, it was like instantly I'm like, oh, I just talked with my friend about this, about blowing up on the kids. And every time I feel that way, it's always something within me. It's nothing, really nothing wrong with the kids. It's
Right.
just that I'm stressed out and I have things that I need to deal with within myself. And at times, as parents, we'll end up taking it out on the kids when they're just being kids. She's
Yep.
5 years old, she's just crying, and I could have easily diffused the situation by just saying, "Hey, talk to me," because I've
Right.
done that before, and it
Right.
always
Right.
works. But it's
Right.
just having that patience, man. That's so important.
Yeah. Right. But then that's not easy, man. That's not
Yeah,
easy.
yeah.
It's not easy. So you gotta keep that. We have to keep that in mind. And this is what I tell myself when I have one of those moments. I think as a child, it's also good for them to see us in all, different, from all different perspectives. So
Mm,
even those times when you think that you have quote unquote failed, that can be good for the child because they see how you move. You know what
mm,
I mean? And then it informs, you know, how they move. Oh, daddy did this, it made me feel this way. But the next time, daddy did this. And then, oh, okay, so it's okay for people
Mhm.
to not always be perfect or, you know, be inconsistent. That's a part of life. So that's what I tell myself when I
Yes,
have those
sir.
moments. But it's not easy.
Yeah,
It is not
man.
easy, and we can only do so much. So, you know, you're gonna have good days, and then you're gonna have days where you struggle more, and you know, we're dealing with it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, hey, man, I don't want to hold up too much of your time. I think this was a good interview.
Oh,
Uh,
I appreciate it.
great responses. You helped
Mm,
me out. I always tell people that, Dad, can we talk? I made it for others to hear it,
right.
but more than anything, it's about me. I'm trying to learn as a dad. And every time I bring a dad on, I'm trying to look for that thing that I can, hold on to and put in my own, on my own tool
Yeah.
belt as a dad.
Right. Right. Good for you, man. Good for you. That's
Sir.
huge to me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, my man, we'll end it there.
Cool.
Man, I appreciate your time. I'm so thankful for the opportunity to sit and talk with you, man. And I just hope that you continue to do what you're doing. Continue to be a great dad, continue to be a great role model for our community, and just keep doing what you're doing, man.
Thank you, sir. You too. It's very important. It's very
Yes,
important.
sir.
So, please continue. Take care of yourself, sir.
I sure will, man. For all my listeners out there, man, we're out. It's Dad Can We Talk, episode 93 with Taye Diggs. We're out of here. Peace.
All right, now. Baby, good.